Hey guys, it's Michael. Welcome back to Michael in the Morning. Today is Thursday, September 24th, 2020. We have a very exciting announcement because the House passed a bill Tuesday night and now it is set to pass the Senate later today. So in today's video, I'm first going to go over how the House of Representatives passed a bill on Tuesday night to avert a government shutdown through December 11th. And now the bill is off to the Senate with just 8 days left before current federal funding expires, and it is set to pass the Senate as early as later today. Then we're going to go into how in a meeting on Capitol Hill yesterday with top lawmakers, Federal Reserve officials stepped up calls for additional stimulus measures to pass in order to avoid an uneven and protracted economic recovery from the pandemic, and they urged Congress to pass more relief. We heard from a number of top Federal Reserve officials, including Jerome Powell, Chicago Federal Reserve President, Cleveland Federal Reserve President, and many others. And finally, in addition to the Federal Reserve, top economists also came out and said specifically what we need passed in order to prevent the economy from sliding back into a recession and what specific details we need in the second stimulus package. So make sure to stick around until the end so you don't miss that. But before we get started, it would really mean a lot if you could like the video down below and subscribe to my channel. It's completely free to do so, and it currently says about 50% of you watching are not subscribed. So if you'd like to stay up to date on the second stimulus check, news updates, and other investing updates, well then please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget, you can get $20 immediately when you download the M1 Finance app using the link down below, and get a free stock valued up to $1,600 when you download the Webull investing app as well. So, the House passed a bill on Tuesday night to avert a government shutdown through December 11th, 2020. And now the bill is off to the Senate with just a couple of days left before current federal funding expires. And this bill is set to pass the Senate as early as later today on Thursday. Lawmakers in the House passed this bill in a bipartisan vote with 359 voting for yes and 57 voting for no. And if the Senate doesn't pass this spending bill by the end of this week and before the end of September, a scenario that both parties want to avoid mere weeks before Election Day and amid the pandemic, then the government would shut down after October 1st. This stopgap spending bill will provide a short-term solution for government spending and keep the government running through December 11th, when they will have to come up with a new agreement. And this is very important to the second stimulus check and second stimulus package because many lawmakers in Congress are readying to leave Washington as soon as this weekend after this bill is passed, without passing a stimulus bill or worrying about it until after the election. South Dakota Senator John Thune, a second-ranking GOP leader, and Alabama Senator Richard Shelby, the Republican who chairs the Appropriations Committee, said yesterday on Wednesday trying to complete action on the House-passed government funding bill this week, that they are trying to get this passed. And he explained how the funding bill, known as continuing resolution, is being shown around to all Senate offices, senators, and aides in hopes to get this bill passed unanimously either today or tomorrow. He said then they're planning to go home to start campaigning for the upcoming elections. He said top officials will remain in Washington, D.C., as Nancy Pelosi has previously stated, and if a second stimulus agreement is reached, they are prepared to come back and vote on it. Moving on, in a meeting on Capitol Hill yesterday with top lawmakers, Federal Reserve officials stepped up calls for additional stimulus to pass to avoid an uneven and protracted economic recovery from the virus pandemic and urged Congress to pass more relief this week. Jerome Powell explained in this meeting that the recovery would move along much faster if there is support coming from both Congress and from the Federal Reserve. He said there's only so much the Fed can do. He goes on to say how a loan program isn't the best option because that could be difficult for many people to repay. And in these cases, direct stimulus checks, direct $1,200 checks, and boosted unemployment benefits at $600 per week may be the best option and are needed. In addition to Jerome Powell, Chicago Fed President Charles Evans came out and told reporters that his projection that the unemployment rate would fall below 6% by the end of next year had been based solely on the fact that he thought $1 trillion would be passed for additional relief measures from Congress. He goes on to say that if that doesn't happen and we don't get more stimulus, then he thinks we're going to see a much higher unemployment rate and the recovery is going to be a lot slower and things could get significantly worse. So he urged Congress that they need to pass more, otherwise we're going to see more people losing their jobs. And finally, in addition to Chicago Fed President Charles Evans and Jerome Powell, Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester also came out during this meeting and said that additional stimulus was very much needed given the deep hole the economy is climbing out of right now. She was adamant that we need more relief from Congress, even more so than Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and Charles Evans. She explained how parts of the economy have recovered more quickly than others, and some sectors are still struggling significantly. So ultimately what she said is what we have right now is not a sustainable recovery. It's a very fragile situation. She said how the country has lost years of economic output dealing with the pandemic, and in order to prevent more long-term damage, Congress needs to pass and must pass another direct stimulus check and stimulus relief measures as soon as possible. And finally, in addition to the Federal Reserve and this new bill that is passing later today, top economists also came out yesterday and said what specifically we need passed in the second stimulus bill in order to prevent the economy from sliding backwards into a recession. Top economists told reporters on Wednesday that the economy is recovering robustly, but we are still in a deep hole. Long term, the U.S. needs to get back on a sustainable fiscal path, but you don't want to start that in the midst of the worst economic hit in 90 years. They're saying that we can't spend trillions of dollars forever, but right now, that's not what we need to worry about. We need to worry about helping the American people and getting money back to them in order to prevent an economic downturn. Top economists at Evermore, named Krishna Gua and Ernie Tedeschi, who was a top economist under the Obama administration, wrote in a note Wednesday that the Federal Reserve wants to put maximum pressure on Congress to re-up fiscal support given the limits to monetary policy that the Fed can pass in dealing with the virus. They explained how top officials are going to continue to urge Congress until we see that bill pass, and they're hoping we could get one passed very quickly. And finally, Atlanta Federal Reserve President Raphael Bostic said in a virtual speech to an Alabama Chamber of Commerce that he's hopeful that policymakers in Washington, as well as at the state level, will pass more relief and find creative ways to get that support out directly to the American people. He explained how with relief running out, there's a pretty significant chance that some of the temporary disruption and disallocation could become permanent, and that is why Congress needs to act fast and get more direct support out to the Americans. So anyways, that is just a quick update on what is going on with this new bill that is set to pass the Senate later today, the second stimulus package, and the Federal Reserve meeting that took place yesterday with Jerome Powell. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to get $20 immediately when you download the M1 Finance, the link down below, and get a free stock valued up to $1,600 when you download the Webull investing app using the link down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.